This podcast provides a platform that will share many different points of views that should empower you, uplift you, make you want to go out and do right. When you hear the term still a man, say, yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Let's go.
All right, somebody get Pat back. We need to get Pat back in the discussion. So someone share the link with him. Someone hit him with the link. So,
Can I say something?
Yeah,
I want to say this. I do want to piggyback off Patsy. I'm not trying to go back and forth with this conversation. I would want to leave it at the bedside after I say this, because the topic is really about, the lack of love and the question that Dave's asking. But my whole rebuttal to that would be this. For all Black men that is listening right now, I'm bouncing off of what Patsy said and Pat said. If Pat can tell you that we can't fix our lips to say I love you to one another as brothers, as a Black man, then I feel we should not fix our lips to take the time out to call each other niggas. That's me. That's how I feel. So if it's that easy to say, what's up, my nigga, then you can also say, what's up, I love you. Because when I talk to my people for anything that they do for me, or we're having a conversation, I end it with this. Thank you for the love and support. And if I can't fix my lips to say I love you, I always end it with thank you for the love and support, or I tell them this, I appreciate you.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. So for those of you that are tuning in, welcome back. You guys have just logged into another episode of Still a Man. Tonight, we are discussing how does a lack of love in childhood rob us of love in adulthood? And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, it is a thing. It does take place. Some people throw around the terms nature versus nurturing. Some people say, I never learned how to love, so how can I show love? But I'm telling you, it's something that plagues our community, no matter what color you are, no matter what your sex is, no matter what your race is, or your ethnicity, your nationality. It is something that plagues our community. There is a lack of love. So we need to find a way to have discussions about this topic, and we have to agree to disagree. Now, just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, the views of the attendees, the participants, are their views and their perspectives alone. It in no way reflects the perspective or the views of the host or the Still a Man podcast. So again, if you're just tuning in, we are discussing how does a lack of love in childhood rob us of love in adulthood. And when I say us, I'm talking about everybody in the family structure. Okay, so we're gonna jump back in it. Sean, tell us again. I believe Bird was talking about how a lack of a love is sometimes based upon you're not able to be there due to other like commitment, due to jobs and other things like that. And we was talking about how people often equate love with money, and you was talking about that earlier. I want you to go back to that point to bring us up to speed.
I was my personal experience with that was within my own family, to where I had explained how I have two sets of children. Now, they all know each other, but I have two sets of children. And in my first set of children, I wasn't in their life like a father was supposed to be physically, but I thought I was doing something because I was there financially. And And because I was doing that, it took my kids as they got a little older to explain to me that, yeah, we know you loved us. We know that you did care for us, but we didn't feel that because what you did financially, that was whatever. We needed you physically. We needed you emotionally. And me and my immaturity, I was thinking that I was doing what I was supposed to do, not realizing that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing completely. So that was my experience.
Is it fair to say that a lot of times that young men are taking their lead from their peers as opposed to their parents and other adults?
In some instances, that wasn't the case for me because I had both my mother and father, and my mother and dad with my children. My dad would get on me constantly about, I don't care how much money you paying, go over there and see those kids. Go over there and spend time with those kids. I don't care what's going on this that. But because I was young and immature and didn't want to have that battle with the mother, I allowed her ways to outshine my responsibilities. And so with that was, like I said, it depends on the individual. Like I had people in my corner, because even the young lady that I was with at the time got in my case because she said, there's no way in the world that I could be with a man who claims to be a man and loves his children, but don't go over there and spend time physically with his children.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So those things open my eyes in my immature state. So I,
you know that was a real woman.
And that's what I was about to say, Tim. That's exactly what I was about to say. Shout out to that woman, whoever you are, wherever you are, because I'm going to tell you, from a man to a man, she helped prepare you, and she played a big part in who you are today, the man that we're speaking to today.
No doubt.
Because that comment alone, it was a great influence, and it was something that needed to be not only said for her. So let me ask you this: how did that so that was that nature or was that nurturing in that situation? The words of wisdom that she imparted.
It was because you used both those words, it was both for me, and I'll explain the reason why. Okay. Nurturing, it was nurturing for me because, like I said, I was being immature, but also being stubborn to where I knew better, but didn't want to do better.
I like that.
And the nature of it was that what she was saying to me, I was brought up in that. And because, although, like I said, I was grown, but I was immature. And so because I wasn't living in my mother and father's house, they can tell me what they wanted, what they would like for me to do and what I should be doing. But I was over here in my own world doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So you thought you was grown.
Yeah.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said, so you thought you was grown.
Yeah, I thought I was grown. I just wasn't doing grown things.
Exactly.
Responsible things.
So let me ask you guys this question. Everybody can see this t-shirt?
Man up.
Man up. So Sean, is it safe to say that when Pops was talking to you back then, and the young lady that we was referring to, this is what she was saying to you, in a sense, telling you to man up, be the man she knows you to be?
No doubt. No doubt.
Okay. So you guys, just so you know, you can get this shirt on emporiumplus.org. Shameless plug. Go ahead and check this out. You know, a lot of us need to be sporting these t-shirts because maybe if we have something to refer to, a point of reference, then maybe, like Sean said, I'm going to rephrase it, but when you know better, you do better in this situation.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes.
we need a little reminder. So you guys go on and grab this shirt right here because it speaks volumes for men and what we need to do and who we need to be for our family and our community. But Sean, go ahead, continue.
I'm trying. Okay, and so that was what I started off with the nurture,
Mm-hmm.
and the nature of it all was. I mean, you just summed it up with that plug right there. The nature of it is that I ultimately ended up being what my parents raised me to be. A strong.
Came full circle.
Yes, sir.
Came full circle.
Sir. So that's pretty much it right there.
All right. Looks like we got some new people that just tuned in. If you're just tuning in, you guys are just logged in to the Still a Man podcast, and tonight we are discussing how does a lack of love in childhood rob us of love in adulthood. One of the ladies, you want to jump back in there? You want to tell us how an absence of love, how it currently, like, it basically shapes the young people around us today. Any of you ladies want to jump in on that?
The lack of love.
How does an absence of love shape the young people we see today? So how does that?
There's an absence of love because there's a lot of people that don't know Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate love right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the Zoom user, if you don't know. I don't know why my name is not coming up.
Mm-hmm. It's all right.
That's the absence right there. I mean, God is love. What I read was the fruit of the spirit. It's the if you live your life trying to instill these principles of love into your life, things will go a lot smoother, and you'll be able to love your neighbor as you love yourself.
I think that's what Pat was making reference to earlier. You just put it into scripture. So again, point of reference. You can always go back to the good book, the Bible, and it provides us direction in many of life's issues. But again, let's say this. Did I just see Georgina is on the line?
Yes, Georgina's in the building. We have
Georgina, you want to share?
We have Najee in the building as well.
Najee, welcome, welcome. You guys want to jump in? We're talking about an absence of love, how it robs us of love in our adulthood if we don't have it during our childhood. So can you guys give us your perspective?
How you put me on the spot.
Oh yeah, we all get on the spot on this show. Everybody's in the hot seat. No safe zone.
As a new mom that has, I'm sorry, my son's right here. As a new mom that has a small a young man, a young little boy, and his father is currently not in his life, it is disheartening because his father, things, we don't get along, and in order for us to get along, I went the child support way, and he didn't like that, so he decided
that's all right. He wants to be a part of the show too. He's putting his view in too.
Yeah, he decided that he, would rather just not be a part of his life and just pay for him. So, I'm still considered a new mom. My son's about to be 2, so I'm still learning how to be, the best parent I can be, and still try to come to some type of, understanding with his dad, because I do want his father in his life. And those that know me, the Brewingtons, that know me, know that I didn't grow up with my father. So I don't want that for my son.
Right.
So let's stay there. So what Gina is saying is, her father was absent from her life due to circumstances, environmental circumstances. So mom, that was the primary parent. Was there any other men that stepped up to the plate, seeing that dad wasn't around? Was there any other men in your life?
Yeah, there was. My mom, she was, she was about to get married before, like with this guy back in the day, but he was very abusive. So I think, like, this man, he would not even hit his own kid, but he would hit us.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that he took advantage of the fact that, my mom, altogether, my mom had 5 kids, right?
Right.
So he took advantage of that. I honestly, I really don't think, until still to this day, my mom says she didn't know it was like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think he kind of did it sometimes, and as much as he did it, that behind closed doors when she was at work or whatever have you. But even still to this day, me and my siblings, we talk about it, and we talk about how we literally hated this man, but he took advantage of the fact that we all didn't have our father in our life. So there was no one to say, hey, like, stop, don't be touching my kid, you know what I'm saying? So he knew that, and he took advantage of that.
You had no one to turn to.
Exactly.
So before his entrance into the family, would you say it was a loving, nurturing environment?
Well, what, before he came into our family?
Yes.
Yeah. My mom, she's a great mom. She did the best that she could. She's amazing, still mom and grandma now, and I love her to death. And honestly, it's sad to say, like, I don't want her to be single for the rest of her life, but just there's slim pickings.
You like her just the way she is.
Yeah, just the way she is. I mean, I just rather, I don't know. I don't want to say I'd rather her be single, but it's just the way the people that she gave a chance to is not even up to par or on her level.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that individual that came into the loving environment was lacking love? So he displayed that in his adulthood. That's the type of love and attention and presence that you can do without.
Absolutely. And still to this day, like, he's the guy is married, he got a new wife and everything like that. And me and him and my mom haven't been together for over 15 years. But he still comes around my family because my family gives off that love, and no matter who you are, just like the Brewingtons, you guys, we're welcoming people, right? Whoever you bring around, we're gonna love, we're gonna, and he could not find that in his own family, so he still brings his wife around, still calling my uncles his uncle. These are my uncles, and they're not, but he doesn't have that of his own. And I started to kind of like resent him, like, why are you still coming around? You got a whole new life. You got get your own life. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Sorry, I just went on a rant.
No, it's understandable.
Sometimes you gotta go on rants like that. Sometimes
that's what this forum is for. Tanya, I want to touch back on something that you said earlier about so because you didn't get love at home, you were looking for it elsewhere.
Yes.
So you have, tell me what it was like,
Well,
seems
I
you had
had
a
a
lack of
lack of
love
love
during your
from.
childhood.
Let me
How
rephrase
was,
that. I had a lack of love
okay.
from my mother and my father.
Mm-hmm.
But I had other individuals like my aunt. My aunt's, her name is Sissy. That's what they call her. I spent a lot of time at her house because the man that she was with treated me like one of his kids. You know, he showed me love, but he was a hustler. You know what I'm saying? He showed me love, but the influence wasn't a good influence. So that's who I had. That's who I had to get to show me love, was her and her husband. And the rest of my family, they was doing their own thing. They had their own kids, you know. So I was out on an island by myself unless I was over there at her house. And I spent a lot of time at her house. But the influences in her house, there was love, but there wasn't no good influences. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was drugs, there was selling of drugs, selling of liquor, you know, using. I started smoking weed at the age of 10.
Wow.
You know, looking for inclusiveness, looking to be a part of something. You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't really know my whole story. As long as we've been knowing each other and loving each other as a family, y'all don't know my whole story. Because it's something that I put in the recesses of my mind. Like the stuff that I felt about my mom, about how I felt like how she left me unprotected. I held on to that stuff for 50 years just about. I wasn't able to release that until I got sick. And God gave me the opportunity to talk to her about that. Before she passed and before, you know, after I got sick, I had to tell her. She asked me, I laid it on her so thick. She said to me, did you feel like I don't love you? I said, yes, I do feel like you don't love me, because it was very hard to talk to you growing up. You know, and I was on the sidelines looking at how selfish she was and my father was.
That's good. That's good that you use that word selfish, because if you are a selfish individual, is it capable to show a child love and nurture that emotion so that when they get older, they're able to exhibit that in all of their adult relationships, be it with their significant other, their children, any type of relationship? Is that possible? Anybody, just jump in. Anybody.
It's possible, but it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Because you're creating a generational type of overindulgence. Because of my lack of love I got from my parents. When I had my kids, I overly, you know, I wanted to give them everything that I didn't have.
And now we're getting into it. So is it something that can be passed down from generation to generation? Is it a cycle that needs to be broken?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, that's what I was saying earlier about the foundation. It starts with the parents. And if your mother or father don't show you that type of unconditional love, you would not know how to love someone else back or love yourself.
So you guys, those of you that are parents, and if you felt like that you may or may not have gotten enough love from your parents, or your parents wasn't nurturing because it wasn't in their nature, or let's just say there was certain factors within the household and the family structure that prevented the parent from giving you the type of, we're going to keep it at love, not just attention,
Okay, Mr. Host,
I
David,
think
I just don't
attention
want to
is,
break you. David, I don't want to break you when you're in conversation or questioning someone. You have 6 minutes left in this Zoom podcast right now.
okay.
So,
On the Facebook.
Okay, so at the conclusion of this meeting, you guys, for all of you guys that want to continue the discussion, we're going to continue discussion on Facebook. So if you have Facebook, and go into the room and feel free to continue the conversation. So within the 6 minutes, I'm just gonna say this to you guys. I think we have an obligation as a family to provide every member of the family, young and old, what they need in order to be successful. You know, it's like we talked about before. Love is like the water to a flower. If you do not provide that flower with that love, which is water, it will not grow. And if it does grow, it may not grow to be everything that you need it to be, or that you would hope it would be. It would be sorely lacking. So we're gonna stay with the flower. Petals might be missing from the flower. The stem might not stand upright. It might be tilted to the side. It might have discoloration.
Don't hide it. Divide it. Don't hide it. Divide it.
That's right. So
don't hide it. Divide it.
So again, we I remember our bishop. He said something about the weed that grows right alongside the flower.
It chokes
so
it.
A lot of times you're providing that flower with all the nutrients, the nurturing, the things that are vital to its existence. And that weed gets all of that. So what happens to the weed? The weed grows up strong too. So now if you do not remove the weed from the flower, chances are, because it's in its nature to strangle the flower, so that it's the only thing in existence at that point. How do we do that? How do we separate the weed from the flowers?
It's knowledge.
Okay.
Wisdom.
Can we say knowledge is love?
Knowledge is love. Wisdom is love. I learned with my kids, because of the things that I was lacking and me overindulging them, that I was creating a generational type of situation, because now my kids overindulge their kids, which they think that this is what they're supposed to have. They don't think of it as a luxury. They think of it as a necessity, and it really isn't.
Yeah.
I support that, Tanya, because when I don't have my little grandkids running around me and stuff, but I do remember when they were there, the traditional part of how things were influenced upon me, and it was more or less like mom made sure that everyone had a Christmas tree. Mom made sure that everybody felt included. So, and that's what I did. I made sure that all my grandkids were included. I made sure that my son had whatever I thought was the hardest thing coming out, whatever it was that I thought it would, and it would just lighten up his day, whatever it would be, So with that being said, it's more or less like, I feel like we do pass down those traditions, but then now I'm moving forward where we are today, and I don't have my grandkids around me, and I see my sister, and she's, and she has her guard kids, and she has this, and she has that, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, oh God, that's that traditional stuff floating through the blood, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's that love, that you felt. Continue
so
to
guys, before we run out of time, is it safe to say everybody's in agreement that everybody within the family circle requires love?
Yes.
Okay, young and old. So let me leave. Okay, unconditional love. I like that. So let me leave you guys with this before we run out of time. I'm going to drop some jewels on you guys. Remember this. Attitude equals aptitude. If you think a certain way, you will behave a certain way. So if you feel or think that you're incapable of love, that's what you're going to exhibit. So chances are, if you feel like you do not have it within you, look around you and gravitate to those that do. And they will nurture you, even if it's not in your nature. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, please join us on Facebook where we'll continue the discussion. See you guys next week if you don't join us on Facebook. God bless you all. Keep coming back.
God bless.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Good.